Today we will continue examining contrast, value, and how a light source impacts how we see an object. So a chair will be the focus of your lesson project. Pick a chair that appeals to you. I want you to analyze how a chair appears with different lighting. Your chair should have a direct light source shining on it. So this could possibly mean maybe waking up early in the early morning and taking a photograph with the chair with some really good lighting. Or maybe it's later on in the day and you take you and your chair out on the back patio and take a photograph. Remember how we talked about Monet's water lilies and how Monet focused on contrast in his painting? So for example, think about the darker colors he used. It makes the viewer think that, he painted it during later on in the day, whereas his lighter colors show more of an early, happy morning scene. All right, so enough talk. Let's do a light experiment. All right, so I'm going to do a quick stage switch. And I'm going to pick an object, and I picked a pear. All right, and so without any light, you will not be able to see the object. You will recall that a light source defines an object. So I have my flashlight on, and I'm pointing it at the object. You can see the highlights and the shadow, right? As I move my flashlight along the object, the shadow moves and all the other corresponding colors move. All right, I'm going to do that again. You see the shadow? See how it's moving? Oh, I'm running out of battery. All right. So, keep in mind when you're taking a photograph, you might want to use a light, for example, a lamp or a flashlight, all right, to take the photograph, depending on what sense of emotion you're trying to convey to the viewer. So once you arrange your chair and have light that is pleasing to you, take a photograph of it. All right, so now we're going to move on to the project. So here we are. We have our piece of paper. This paper is in sketchbook, but if you don't have a sketchbook, a piece of copy paper will do just fine. Or if you don't have any paper, any printer paper, you can be resourceful and maybe use the back of a cereal box, like inside of it. Be creative, all right? So, what you want to do is with this piece of paper and with your pencil, you want to take your ruler and make 8 inches. And then go lengthwise, and you probably can't see that. I'm going to move it over here. And you're going to draw it, again, 8 inches. All right. Now, because in total we want 4 boxes, we want to divide 8 by 2, which would be 4. So your boxes would be 4 by 4, and a total of 4 boxes. All right, so make sure you have your reference on hand. All right, and if you do print out your reference and you want to mark up your photograph, you are more than welcome to. You should probably take something bright, like a red pencil, or a marker, and mark it up. So I'm going to give you an example. And if you don't have a ruler, you could use paper, like so, and use that as an edge. Okay, so you can be creative with what you have at home. So once you have this window-like example, you can reference it in your artwork. So I'm going to leave it up here, but I know you can't see it, but just to let you know that I'm looking at the reference. So how to draw is you want to get your hands loose, and you want to do it, draw very light and sketchy. So with this, I'm just going to draw. You want to draw very loose. Alright, so this kind of goes off the page. And whatever chair you pick, it might mean something to you. So keep in mind when you're trying to figure out what chair you want to draw. Alright, so let's say we've sketched out all 4 boxes. You can see I have a close-up over here. Hopefully you can see. And another box over here. So lucky for you, I have a pretty much finished composition. And like I said, sketch out your composition, all 4 chairs, and then go in with a pencil and do more, refine the drawing. I just want to go over some shading techniques. We have cross-hatching, which you probably have done before. Cross-hatching is when you make kind of like a tic-tac-toe board. So you can see in some detail, I have some cross-hatching going on over here. I have some blending, which you could probably see over here, and some stippling. Alright, so stippling is when you do dots. So however you choose to draw your drawing is fine with me. So choose how you want to portray your chair. Do you want to portray the likeness in the chair? Do you want it to look realistic? Or do you want to show your emotions in your chair? Alright, and be more experimental. So just to remind you that you can use whatever pencil that you have at home. And if you're an artist like me, and you have some fancy pencils with numbers on it, you can use that as well. And lucky for me, I have a ebony pencil that makes it easier to make darks. So just before you're done with your drawing, a way to make it more three-dimensional, if you would like, is taking your pencil and wherever there's darks, like wherever you want to show like a lot of darks, you really want to go in with your pencil. Alright, so this is underneath the chair. So hypothetically, this shadow should be really dark. Alright, what else do I want to show you? Also, you want to keep in mind your background. If you want to take your pencil and be expressive and do some interesting cross-hatching. When I cross-hatch, I like to move around the piece of paper. That way, it looks good in all directions. Alright, so yeah, so those are some thoughts about your drawing. For example, I want to get you guys inspired about picking your chair. So in my demonstration, my chair is from my dorm room, and this has a lot of meaning to me. This is where I did a lot of studying, It also represents the first time I lived on my own. So the light source that I picked was from a small window in my dorm room, like the only window that I had. And it was early in the morning. That's when I do my best studying, right? So I want you to think about what chair you want to show the world. At this point, I'm going to break. It's time for you to start thinking about your chair.